Today we have a very special video. I don't do anything in the commercial real estate market, so getting some insight to what's going on in the commercial industry is super exciting. So today we're gonna go talk to Jeff Edberg, who is the king of commercial real estate in the Iowa City area, and talk to him about some of these really exciting new trends that are occurring post-COVID. Let's go get started. All right, today I have the great pleasure of sitting with the great Jeff Edberg. Yeah, you're patting off, but you are the biggest commercial real estate agent in town, and you're just fascinating and great to talk to. And there's so much going on in commercial real estate right now. People are wondering what's going on post-pandemic in commercial real estate, yet Google just had the largest commercial real estate sale ever in the nation's history, $2.1 billion. And Amazon and Apple, these big titans, are just expanding their commercial real estate footprint. And there's a lot of things going on. So I'm really excited to kind of get a feel of what's going on post-pandemic with you today. And so the first question I have is, Amazon spent all this time being the disruptor of your brick and mortars, right? And now it's going back into brick and mortar. So what is the future of brick and mortar for retail, and what do you see happening there?
There are some challenges in describing the market. Were I to predict what was going to happen in 2021, I would have predicted that there is a great fall off because of 18% of shopping is now, Amazon actually has 18% of online shopping that used to be brick and mortar, that Target, other big retailers have learned from Amazon how to do it. And so they've changed the way they supply us products. Brick and mortar is clearly suffering, but I have had the second best year I've had in commercial real estate this year, and I've been doing it for 44 years.
A lot of that's warehouses though too, right? Like they say warehouses is the one thing that's completely like the lowest vacancy rate in the entire nation. I think it's less than 4%.
There are 4 disciplines in real estate, and warehouse has been, depending on the community, at the low end of the food chain. Now it's the most productive, highest selling commodity. Why? I don't know. And the challenge with a lot of the whys is that we are in the middle of the change. When you're in the middle of the change, I can observe and report to you what I see, but I can't tell you why till later. As far as Amazon, if you dial back the clock, Amazon was struggling. I did not get Amazon. A bookstore named Amazon, what's this about? They were making no money and didn't have the online services or the support or anything else. What they did was slowly, over years, built a delivery system. And so Amazon is more of a delivery system than anything else. They employ, I think they're the second largest employer of people in the country. As of about 3 days ago. Huh. Your observation is correct that Amazon has, and it sounds ironic that they've dialed back from being strictly an online, perfecting the online delivery of goods and services to me, a consumer. Right. It's ironic that now they're actually building brick and mortar stores. Sounds like they're competing with themselves. But look at what they've done. They know that I am liable to buy lots of toner cartridges for HP printers. And so when I order a toner cartridge, it's already in Iowa City because they know the shopping habits that I have. Yeah. They know the shopping habits Iowa City has. And so they cluster those so that they can speedily deliver them. Why not put all of those items in a brick and mortar store? And that's what they did. Mm-hmm. They're not competing with themselves. They're already sitting in their warehouse. Now they're just sitting in a store that I might be more liable or comfortable to visit.
So the store is almost a warehouse.
The store is a warehouse.
Which brings to my next question. A lot of people say shopping malls are dead, and there's a lot of discussion. A bunch of shopping malls have been repurposed to either residential plan developments, some to schools. Are there too many shopping malls? What's the future of shopping malls?
And this is partly COVID related, but this predated COVID by probably 6-7 years, mm-hmm. that shopping malls are evolving, they're changing. They started in the 50s to be a place to go. We didn't have texting.
Your third space, yeah.
Yeah, and so you could take the family out, you could buy something that you wanted, you could walk up and down and meet your friends, you could have a meal and then go home. That was a neighborhood community. The catalyst was really Amazon, and online shopping started to hurt big box retail shopping. And so they weren't prepared for it. They didn't know the future. Nobody was, nor did. And so the malls started to get run down a little bit. Big box shops weren't paying their rent. They weren't paying their CAM fees. And so something had to give. A mall, to be effective, has to be exciting and fun to go to.
Still have the third space. Yeah.
Still have the third space. So there are about 25% that have gone in America that have gone dark, which is significant.
Yes.
And over the next 5 years, there may be another 25% that go dark. Now, that's, as you know, they're big boxes. The Coral Ridge Mall is 1,200,000 square feet of space on a major freeway with lots of parking. What else could you use that for besides retail shops? People are just finding out, and the result is that you mentioned residential spaces. Their malls are often putting a second floor on or using part of the first floor for residential condos. They are deeming this mall now a neighborhood.
Yeah.
That they've expanded dining from about 8% to 30%.
Oh, wow.
Of the space is now dining. They've added in WeWork spaces, remote officing space, possibly primary office space. This also hits, COVID was a huge catalyst, but it also hits the millennial way of thinking. That about 4 years ago, that millennials took over the #1 spot from boomers as far as the wealth, as far as the direction of our business trends in America. And so I'm a boomer. I like to own things.
I'm a throwaway generation.
You're a throwaway generation, but you might lease your car. You might use Office 365 in the cloud.
Yeah.
I do as well, but I kind of like to have that CD backup.
Physical. Yeah.
And so with this change of direction, that the fundamental thinking of our society has changed, where this idea of living in a mall is very appealing because it's fun and effective for me to do that. My friends are there. I can rent my Porsche and park it there, and I can go shopping, I can eat, I can work. If I need to go somewhere, I'm right by the freeway and I'll go.
I'm not a big mall person, but I like this idea.
And
it sounds exciting. I think it's
happening.
appealing to my generation.
It's happening, but it requires enormous capital to do that. When you're trying to take a mall and redo the same way it's been going, they're not going to be successful because things have changed too much. I think that Target and some of the big boxes that we have here, Best Buy, have learned that their brick and mortar space is too big, but it's a showroom. Mm-hmm. And from that, they'll have anything ready for pickup or delivery the next day. Yeah. And they've learned how to do that. Amazon taught them, and we are liking this, apparently, because it's continuing to happen.
Very interesting. Well, let's pivot into office space. So the big change in office space is being started by Google's new 3-2 rule. And for those of you that don't know about the 3-2 model that Google's doing, I know you know about it, but it's 3 days on, 2 days wherever. And you can work, I don't know, at your house or whatever. For me, that's interesting because pre-pandemic, studies were just extra spaces in a residential house. Like, we didn't care. But now, every new build I have going up, you have to have at least one, if not 2 or 3 studies, maybe one for the kid, put in a house. So what's the future of commercial real estate on the commercial side as far as office spaces, especially with Google saying this is probably indefinite, this 3-2 model for their company?
Again, we are in the center of change. And so the 3-2 model is one attempt at answering that call. That office space started changing before COVID.
Really?
Yeah, probably 5 years ago. That 5 years ago, I would lease and sell office space as a first run, and industrial would be the last run. Those have changed places. So office space was dwindling. It wasn't, the prices were actually going down, not up, for a straight office space. It was still interesting and exciting, but Google just put the kibosh on it. But consider that we work, at least I work, in an office. And I'm fortunate to be in this office that is closed off from the rest of the company. During COVID, I didn't come in every day, but I was able to come in to my office every day. I like working in the office. We have about 60 agents next door that when COVID, in March of 2020, when COVID became a reality for us, that agents were sent home. The doors were locked, masks are required, that we still have a UVC light over here. We'd sanitize our air every night. And we were just learning how to live with this deadly unknown hazard among us. Yet during that period, when agents weren't here, maybe 3 out of the 60 would be here at any one day, our top line, our sales went up 30%. So do we need an office? There's.
Do you think maybe we just need smaller spaces? Like rather than leasing like 3,000 square foot spaces, that if we get like the micro office, the 500 square foot, or maybe 900. I mean, it's hard to find a 900 square foot office.
There's some trends emerging. A 900-foot office is expensive to build, more expensive than people would pay. But the trends initially, or the predictions initially, were that offices would be bigger. I think those were spread by office owners. So you could have social distancing within the office, so you need more space.
Right.
That was a wish and a prayer. It never happened. That larger companies in Iowa City are still paying rent, but haven't occupied their office in 2 years. Are they doing the 3-2 model? People are talking about the 3-2 model, which is really that if you send everybody home, you're really excited about that line item being 0 for office space in your P&L. But it doesn't work well. You're not efficient, only working from home. Workers have found that they like working from home. They like being around their kids. They like just living where they are and working where they are and not having to separate the two. What they miss at the office is the collaboration from passing in the hallway and saying, hey, Adam, what did you do with that store over on 5th Street? And what's happening in your life now? We don't have those conversations because we don't run into each other.
Water cooler's gone, yeah.
And so office leaders are trying to find what works now. Now an office they're expensive, and you can't turn that ship around quickly. And so the changes have to be awkward by design, that you can't really afford to experiment too much without knowing what the model is. The model that I'm seeing emerge from large office users is that they need 25% of what they have. And whether it is a 3-2 model, whether it is a 75-25 model, where 75% of the workforce is at home at any one time, 25% is in the office, seems to be about the ratio that people are looking for.
It's more like the WeWork setup.
It's very much like the WeWork setup, where that the design is for shared office spacing, lots of conference rooms, so you can come and work and do your work, whatever it might be, and then leave and go home.
Very interesting. Well, thanks, Jeff. Really appreciate Jeff Edberg being on. And if you have commercial real estate needs, I'll put his information in the comments. Thanks for watching. You work with Jeff. You're used to it.
I'm going to turn this off.
He'll get it.
Oh, well, that's mute. Okay.
Look at this thing. I mean, I'm just dying to.
You know you want to sit on it.
It's actually pretty comfortable.
I know.
Like, it actually, I mean, I feel a little weird and awkward, but.
Sit up straight and flex your abs.
You got to sit up straight.
Sit up straight.
You're exercising.
Is that? And
You're
do you
engaging
bounce
your
while you
core.
sit here? Or?
You're engaging
can.
your core, Adam.